You are. You've come back like a Floridian trash.
Ah, yeah.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to your favorite podcast of all time. Maybe you don't know yet that this is your favorite podcast or the best podcast. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the Astrology podcast.
You say that every time just so we don't step on anybody's toes. Because we know somewhere out there, Chris Brennan is like,
are they coming for our spot? Give us like a year and a half, 2 years. Don't worry. We know it. It's all good. But this is the official Hermes-Hades combo of your dreams / nightmare.
definitely dream/nightmares.
Oh yes.
Once again, I saw that meme that had like the little like military guy, and it says like when Scorpio and Gemini realize like, wait, are we the villains? Every time I see that, I cackle and I think of you.
I also love the one where it's like us on a chessboard and then Pisces is just there, like us battling for who's the most hated, and then like Pisces is just there sometimes.
They get away with everything.
Yeah,
They get away with everything.
Oh, apparently I'm a Floridian piece of trash now that I've come back.
Well, he pulls out this he just starts puffing, okay, out of nowhere, and he goes, yeah, this is my vape from Florida because they don't sell weed, so this is my nicotine vape. And I'm like, cool, so you've become a Floridian piece of shit.
Project Baby.
Okay, I have to
Shout out to
ask.
my dude
I've been waiting all week, and I didn't even preface this because I was like, I need to wait until the podcast. I need to understand what this is. What the fuck is a meetup tour?
Okay, so
And I genuinely want to know, first of all, and two, do you meet up with people and go on tours? Because all I saw was gator tours. Is it something that's organized where you're hitting specific cities?
Right.
Are you doing meet and greets? Are you signing books?
So what we're gonna plan to do are official booked events where we'll have creative speakers in the town at established venues or local spots. You pay a ticket, you come in, you have fun. That's not what we're doing this year. This year, I'm just showing up at your spot, dropping the location, and if you want to meet me and say hi, like the meetup tour officially starts this summer, but I sneak peeked it in Miami. About like 4 or 5 people showed up. All legends showed up. It was like a few Pisces, people with 12 houses. It was lit, but it was very last minute, so it's not really organized at all.
Okay, because I was like, what is this meetup tour? Are you taking photos with babies and shaking
I'm taking
hands?
some photos. I'm shaking hands. I just want more. I'm gonna prepare for it. You know, I'll probably announce it 2 weeks before. But like, basically, for people to come up for free, not paying a ticket, just to say hi, and so I can hug people, see people, say hi to people.
I got excited because I saw. First of all, I saw you catching your flight, or you were checking your luggage 30 minutes before your flight left the gate.
I showed up early. Yeah.
I saw that, and I saw that, and I was like, oh my
Mercury
God.
retrograde humbled me. Like, I don't play around anymore, because even when I went to the airport, like, the stupid shit will happen where it's like, yeah, I would have missed my flight if I played around. So
you made it, and then I calculated the hours, and I was like, oh, he took an overnight on the flight. And then it's like, next morning, Mike's at a gator farm.
Yes.
Doing a swamp tour with the Floridian. Actually, no, she was Australian, right?
She was Australian.
I know everything. I'm so like sun Pluto Mercury. And I was like, what is going on? It's like a meetup tour. Is he meeting people and like going on gator tours? But then I realized you were...
Had some gator too.
Was it good?
It was good. The birds, they tell us to cover it because the birds will like eat it, and it was Alfred Hitchcock birds. Like, they tried to like storm the table, and the birds thought they were slick. Like, they wouldn't look at the food. They would act like they were just there, but they wanted the food. And my friend who was about to eat it, the bird literally took it out her mouth.
That bird was like, nah, bitch.
But that gator was good, man. It tasted like, they said it tastes like pork and chicken, but it definitely tastes like chicken.
It's good when it's like fried in the little balls, or they put it on the stick. I had some in New Orleans.
Nice. Okay.
Had it a couple times.
They had the gator po' boy, and that reminded me of New Orleans. I was like, oh, okay, po' boy.
Just like lots of hot sauce and And like, I don't know what else they put on there. Not
Nope.
aioli. It's like, what is it? Like not a marmalade.
Like a sauce though, right?
Yeah, it's like a,
Tartar sauce?
yeah, kind of like that, yeah.
Shout out to New Orleans. I'm coming back for you.
That was my favorite live, where everybody was hammered and Mike's just like walking in the French Quarter and there's just like tits and beads everywhere.
Yeah.
I remember watching this being like, oh my God.
I forgot I did a live like that.
I think
That's
you
amazing.
went like 2 weeks before or after I went. I think you went before me.
I think it was before.
Yeah, but we like just
I
barely
came back
missed
with
each
like
other.
a nasty cold, or I got sick when I was at High Vibe. I don't know what I got.
That's what you get for sucking face on Bourbon Street.
I mean, I didn't do that. But I did see some titties. So that's
My favorite thing ever is when you're walking up and down Bourbon Street, and if you're like anything more than a B cup, they're like, show me your tits. And I'm like, show me your tits. And sometimes I happen to get a man that's got some chesticles going on who will definitely flash me, and then I'll laugh and walk away. I'm not going to show my tits to people on Bourbon Street. That's going to be like...
Doja Cat got people like that. She's like, if I go number one, I'll show my tits. And then she's like, ha, you thought I was going to show you my tits. Nice. Well
Are you talking
played.
about her dress in that? Have you seen the dress that she had at the most recent award ceremony?
My future
was-
wife? No, I haven't.
It was so, her dress is cool. It was like very like Jetsons, and it was like off the shoulder, and then it was like sheer, and then she had like these like golden like nipple covers. We'll get a picture. We'll get an image somewhere here, but it was a great picture.
That's what's up. She is like a queen of self-depreciating humor, and I appreciate that.
All I think of is like, bitch, I'm a cow. Bitch, I'm a cow.
Iconic, classic. Moo,
I love that.
moo, moo, moo.
Yeah.
Moo.
Yeah. You're a Taurus rising. You
Oh,
take that.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my jam.
He's all about those letters.
Oh, yes.
Um,
Fucking vegans.
Woo! We're gonna talk about some crazy shit today, guys.
Oh, yeah. Alien disclosures.
We're okay.
all that shit.
So full disclosure, alien disclosure. Full disclosure is this is early, but I feel the need to talk about it because I know we're probably gonna talk about it again as we get closer. This is one of at least my like top 3 most anticipated transits in all of 2022, and the reason why I'm bringing it up now is because in about it's gonna be like 3 months time, we're gonna see this transit setting up. So we're gonna talk about it. We may talk about obviously how it affects the signs depending on how much time we have, but we want to talk about the North Node Uranus conjunction that's going to be happening. You're going to start feeling the energy at the end of July of 2022, but it's going to be setting up pretty much the whole first week of August. So let's wrap on this because it's not just the North Node Uranus conjunction. It is also going to be factored in with Mars.
The god of war.
Now, the North Node Uranus conjunction, we're going to see like technically every 18 to 19 years, right? Because that's the nodal cycle. But we will see conjunctions between the nodes roughly every 8 years. So we haven't seen this particular conjunction, I believe, since it was in Pisces, if I am doing my math correctly, right? Or was it in Aquarius?
The last conjunction with the North Node and Uranus or
Yeah.
Mars? In Aquarius?
Was it in Aquarius?
With Uranus and Aquarius?
I don't know if it was Uranus. I don't know if it was Aquarius or if it was Pisces.
It might have been Pisces, if not Aries.
Okay, hold on. Let me
Yeah.
look. I'm going to look.
Let's definitely look it up.
Just to make sure.
You mean the North Node or the South Node?
The North Node.
Oh, that might have been Aquarius, because that was 20
Yeah.
years ago. That was definitely 20 years ago.
So we're in, well, that's when the North Node was in Gemini. So actually,
Yeah.
yeah, I was closer to, that's when the South Node was there. So the South Node was conjunct Uranus, and that was back in September of 1999. So that means the last time the North Node conjunction, yeah, it was in Pisces. I was right. Second guessed myself. So it was right around, come on. It was also with Mars. Crazy. Okay, so we're kind of going.
What?
Yeah, so it looks like it was spring of 2007.
Wow. Mars, what are you doing?
So
2007.
North Node, Mars, Uranus, and Pisces were all conjunct around mid-April of 2007.
That was before Obama changed the world and let us know that, yes, we can.
And that conjunction being in Pisces was so hidden. Like, you couldn't see it, you know? I kind of see like that as like a very debilitated Mars.
And Neptune was in Aquarius.
So we weren't seeing what was going on, like the shakeups globally. I'm sure that, I mean, we'll come back. I'm sure somebody will say something about, this is what happened this time in history, because personally I don't know, because I wasn't thinking about it till just now, but...
Around that same degree, too, 18-ish.
Yeah, which has always got like a really interesting...
arc to it.
Yeah.
So now all that is manifesting here in Taurus, and as the fog dispels, we see we see what we're dealing with. Which, by the way, if you're Pluto Scorpio, if you're Pluto Sag, if you're Pluto Libra, guess who has to clean all this mess? Guess who has to inherit all this shit? You!
Oh my god, the Pluto Scorpio people. Fuck.
Pluto Libra got a taste of that 2020 with that Pluto square.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're not going to get any credit for the work you're doing, and you're going to be probably canceled for it too. Congratulations.
Okay, so let's talk about this. So, like, this hasn't happened since, 2007. So now we're seeing this happening in a fixed Earth sign, Taurus. Obviously, we know that Uranus and Taurus is a shit show. Okay, look, it is. We don't know shit about anything.
Yeah.
We don't know shit about health, wellness, food, the physical body. We could not be more detached from vibrations and awareness and all that stuff. The North and the South Node are based off of calculations connected to the moon. It is the moon's node. So they are very much tied to like psychic abilities, emotions, past life, future life. The North Node is like super futuristic,
Yeah.
hard to predict,
Also purposeful, guiding. I like how it's the soul destiny, the moon's nodes. But
unveiling something though. Right? Because I kind of see like the North Node as being like pulling away the curtain. And I think the fact that the North Node is meeting with Uranus and it's in that beautiful square again to Saturn and Aquarius.
about like 6 degrees too.
Yeah.
4 degrees. Let me take that back. 4 degrees.
It's safe to say like the very last couple days of July all the way through the first half of August. I have said this so many times on my channel. This is the jump off period. This is like when you have to like take a leap of faith, walk the plank. You have to do something. You have to make a decision. You have to jump into some kind of new futuristic energy vibration.
Like a new app that you don't know is going to be the next TikTok or Facebook because it's just launching. Truth Social. And
Have you gone on Truth yet?
I don't have an iPhone.
Oh, that's right. We talk about this every time.
I have the green text message. I just need to get my new iPhone.
You're not really missing anything. I've been on Truth. I haven't.
I'm not on it yet, of course.
I
have to play. I gotta spice it up. You know what
I'm waiting for Trump to come back to Twitter because I know that he's got like to save face with like Truth, but I think that Trump will return. Honestly,
the return of Trump.
I think he will return.
Yeah. He was already talking about, I don't know about all that stuff. I don't know. I think you sent me that, right? So that was interesting.
Well, he has to talk shit because he's got to back Truth because he put all that money into it. He's probably really pissed because he could have just kind of gassed up Elon for a while and kind of gotten in there, and Elon would have been like...
I'm so glad because we need Truth Social. We need something backed by the people, for the people. Okay.
Yes, there's so many bots on Twitter.
Yeah.
There's so much bullshit on Twitter.
Apparently half of Joe Biden's 22 million point, 22
I saw that.
Point, right? I'm not, so that's a very 12th house stuff, but who cares?
Well, whoever's doing his PR is great then.
Oh, yeah.
At least for Twitter, not his PR in general, because he fucking sucks.
I mean, does that even matter? I think he proves to us it doesn't matter. You don't even have to have the skill or talent, and like whoever runs the teleprompter is the real president. Word to Elon. So it is what it is. Jupiter's retrograding, Neptune's retrograding, Saturn's retrograding, Pluto's retrograding. So this retrograde season is definitely...
God, what a shit show.
Right when we step into the
show.
social axis too. So I'd like for you to recap the last time we were in Leo season, coming out into post restrictions 2021.
It was glamorous for a little while. It was glamorous until about the end of October. And then post-Virgo season, when there was definitely like a lot of like assessing numbers and like obviously some truth coming out.
That was my favorite season because of that, yeah.
But I distinctly remember in the fall, like there being like this kind of upswing and like everybody being like, oh, traveling and viruses and all that fucking bullshit. So
how do you feel about for domestic flights having to get a COVID test?
I mean, wait, is that a thing, or are you saying...
They kind of want it to be a thing.
Of course they want it to be a thing, because they don't want people fucking flying. Has anybody recently, I don't know if you have, because you just bought tickets, I was looking at airfare recently, and I was like looking into like buying a flight to just like Northern California in June. And it was like saying all of this stuff, like literally on the flight search, being like, oh, these flights are up X amount of % because of CO2 and this, that, and this. Like, now when you search for flights, it tells you what percentage it has inflated to or up by because of CO2 and other things. And I'm like, it's fucking happening. Like, they're now going to start the process, and they're probably going to do that through testing, of trying to keep people from using air travel as much as possible. South Node and Sag stuff is still kicking, right? Mm-hmm. Like, we're still seeing the effects of those eclipses, which were still taking place last year. Yeah. So with that North Node in Gemini, they're putting so much focus and emphasis on driving and cars and new vehicles and taking trains or buses or focusing on local travel. Like, I think it's going to keep happening, honestly. I don't know. I think it's kind of bullshit. Like, I feel like if you're traveling domestically, like, what's the point? Like, people can get on a plane and they can have COVID, or people can get on a fucking Greyhound bus, or they can get in their car and drive cross country, and you're still going to have it. It's just making people jump through hoops.
And the unfortunate thing about rhetoric is there's always a reason or five why it does actually help. And, you know, we're not doctors, Candace. We don't know anything. This
is our disclaimer.
We need to listen to authority. Don't be like us who questions authority.
Yeah, don't question authority, guys.
Right. We're bad people, and we shouldn't influence you to think for yourselves like such. But it is what it is, and I'm very excited about this transit because I think this is going to be one of those like super breakthroughs. If you think Mars is the last planet to go through the nodes.
Yeah, but I mean, okay, hear me out on this. So the North Node and the South Node, prospectively, are ruled by Venus and Mars. Some would say Pluto. We can look at Pluto too. So what do you make of then Mars being factored into the equation with that conjunction to the North Node? I mean, you have to take the archetype of Mars, which is explosive, reactionary, war-ridden, conflict, fire, heat-cutting, angry mobs,
degree, right?
And it's conjuncting the North Node. So that's like fighting for something, but Mars being in a Venus sign is also kind of adding to the shittiness of Uranus being in Taurus.
We have to remember that Mars came back all around from its 2020 conjunction, and now we're talking about Ukraine. So, you know, it coming into Taurus, I think, is going to ground a whole new cycle of what you were mentioning before about nuclear fallout, or the threat of nuclear fallout, or, you know, just more real, practical understanding of what's possible. And I think we're going to see unexpectedly war ignite. I was going to say reignited, but it's going to look to us as it's ignited. So
it's war, but it's futuristic because it's conjunct the North Node
technological,
and Uranus.
economic war.
So it can be like a tech attack, a grid attack, an energy attack.
We're also going to see a brand new economic war take place.
Oh, for sure.
A new cycle.
And so he's saying this because it's in Taurus, right? But I think the North Node Uranus conjunction in general was going to be this, I'm trying to not say diabolical, but it kind of is.
Diabolical. Yo, Uranus in Aquarius is evil genius.
Yeah, but what about it being at 18 degrees? So many people shy away from that. You know the theory on 18 degree, right?
I know. Okay, so to that system, it's a Libra degree, and then step 9, it's an action degree. So I don't know. I know 22 is Killer Be Cool, where Saturn is.
So, not
Isn't
step
that
astrology.
Biden's moon?
I think so. I can't
I don't
remember.
know if it's 18, but I know it's like something.
I just know that like Nicola always said like, 18, being connected to Virgo, it deals with health, it deals with sickness, it can deal with like
6 is a Virgo,
anything like that.
Libra, my bad.
So when I look at that, I'm like, oh shit, what's going to happen? Like, is this with that Mars North Node Uranus going to be some kind of like...
The WHO bill they're trying to pass or whatever?
What is that?
So I haven't heard of it. I mean,
oh my God.
I've heard a little bit about it, and I don't know too much about it, but apparently I guess it's something about taking the sovereignty away from America, and I mean, I don't know what that entails.
Oh, so it's like the world nation
basically so like they beta tested everything that happened 2020, and now they know like what got in their way, and I think they want to like
Americans got in their way.
Pesky
fucking guns and bald eagles.
You white supremacists. I don't know what's wrong with you. I will let us take your money in peace. But whatever.
I mean, I feel like that's where Australia fucked up. They surrendered their guns.
Yeah.
I mean, sorry to say that, but I don't think Americans are going to go that easy. They're not going to like just roll over and take it. And
no, go ahead.
I don't like saying this, but I feel like it's not just because of the 18 degrees, but it's what's going to follow from this, right? It's the fact that Mars will then move to come into a square with Saturn. We're also going to see the Sun in Taurus come into an opposition with Saturn. So the individual or the youth or younger people or creatives are going to face like harsh restrictions and limitations and like some kind of control shortly after going into like the rest of August. So I kind of feel like...
Climax.
Yeah.
We're going to see a blowback like we've never seen before. Not
to mention the fact, guys, the Mars transit is going to hang around you're going to feel it for about 5 days. And then it's going to start coming into the activation points of the eclipses that we've been having in Scorpio and Taurus, because we've had eclipses that have been between 25 and 27 degrees of Scorpio and Taurus. So once it gets up there and it starts squaring, we're going to see like the grand fixed cross right around here from the 9th of August. Yeah, from the 9th of August pretty much until like right when Virgo season starts, you know?
My question for you is, I want you to describe the triple conjunction with those nodes on its own. And then what's the difference between that on its own versus the Sun squaring it and Saturn squaring it?
Okay, so the North Node's going to talk about like our drive, right? Like the need to accomplish something, to like do something. We're going to feel like this calling. So when planets conjunct the North Node in a natal placement, it represents like the need to embody that energy. So the North Node Mars is really falling into this vibe of like needing to fight, needing to stand up, needing to be courageous. But Mars, you know, it doesn't do as well in a Venus sign. So we've got like this very Venusian, slow-moving, sluggish, loving type energy of Taurus, and Mars is there. So what is it fighting for? Is it fighting for art? Is it fighting for creative authority, for financial freedom? Is it fighting for fertility? Is it fighting for food? Is it fighting for freedom when it comes to money and resources and being able to have physical control of your money and not giving it away to systems, Saturn and Aquarius? I think this is probably going to be when, you know, the big central banks are going to start the process of basically telling everybody, we will convert your money to a digital wallet. We'll give you digital currency for our bank. Why don't you just do it? It's crypto. Everybody's doing it. Get in on it. And I think a lot of people might panic. I'm just purely going off the astrology. Like, I'm not a financial advisor, but I could see where there's this push to be like, do it now, jump in now, save your money. And
so, someone kind of, just to riff on that, when I was in Florida, like, I didn't notice until she mentioned it. Shout out to you, Diane. But she was basically like, if you don't have a phone, you can't park because like there's no meters there. So you have to literally like take the picture of the parking or call in to get a parking meter. And I was like, that was a soft way of phasing that out. And like, that's not to say that'll happen here, but because it'll probably bring parallel, right? But yeah, that made me realize it's on the way. You know, this whole making things more digital. And that's not a bad thing, right? It's innovation. It's just with that Mars aspect, there is that aggressive like push towards it for sure, slowly but surely, because Taurus is the slowest zodiac sign, but it's the most solid.
What do you make of the fact that Mars and the North Node in Uranus will square solar placements? Do you think that's going to have any effect on energy, and the fact that there is going to be some kind of energy crisis that reinforces the fact that we need to look for new solutions?
It's going to revisit the water-powered, energy conspiracy. This is going to activate a whole new chain of conspiracies and conspiracy theories. And I love that you're asking that, because this has everything to do with energy. This has everything to do with phasing out one form of energy. I saw someone with a diesel truck saying that they're trying to kind of phase off diesel too and make that more limited and scarce, because a lot of people are like, oh, well, I just need to get a diesel and a diesel truck to get away from gas. But apparently they want things to go electric. And, I always like to see both sides of the situation. I always like to see the government side, where we don't always have to demonize it, right? So like, maybe there is an incentive to make things go electric, but like, you never know. And this is where with a square like this, or with this pressure from that individual action, with Saturn looming over you, like, hey, we're gonna like enforce what we want on whatever you're doing. This is just going to create more tension for backlash. And we have to go back to 2008. We have to go back to 2012, where Pluto just entered Cap and Neptune just entered, Pisces. And our good man Barry was, running the country before he had his third term like he has now, because him and Kamala are running shit. He, of course, was finishing his first and second term. And we had no idea that what was going to happen now, versus now we're at the final degrees. So like everything we're seeing is at its conclusion. We have to remember we're on the verge of a whole new cycle. So we're still releasing the old understanding of everything. And I think this square is just going to shock people into the reality of what's been happening.
What do you think about biochemical warfare, or war on people's bodies, and the potential shift to transhumanism?
That's actually, transhumanism popped up as soon as the thing started, just came into my mind. And that's an agenda that's been, really subtly pushed. I think it's going to be more overtly pushed. I like to think people who have plastic surgery are cyborgs. And I see that not as a bad thing. I see that instead of like hating on people who have plastic surgery, I see it as like an advanced, you know what I mean? Like you're a cyborg, like you have technology and your physical body. You have people who are all natural, shout out to the Virgos. And then you have, people who did both, and I think one is more advanced and one is more natural. So I think a lot of the philosophy behind transhumanism is going to be seen for the positive and negative, and once that's identified, we'll see how that can be exploited for or against the human, for against people. So I think elements of this are still going to be subtle until Neptune goes into Aries and they're like, we got you, bitches. Ha 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 ha.
We're still seeing the sextiles too to Neptune. So I think we're going to see lots of like engineered foods. I think we're going to see the rise of like lab grown meats and like other things. Like if you guys thought like Beyond Meat and all that stuff was like a big deal, you haven't seen anything yet, because Taurus literally deals with cows. It deals with cattle. So we could start seeing like
natural resources,
stuff that's like being grown or printed, or, like futuristic foods in general. And we don't know, because like I said, the North Node is very hard to predict.
And we fear what we don't understand. So like there's all this negative fear around it because we know who's behind it. And many people don't trust those people for good reason, but we want to make sure we're clear in mentioning like transhumanism and the whole concept of like printing food. It's an innovation of technology in and of itself. It's not a bad thing. So periods like this are going to let us know the intent behind what it's meant to be used for. And I think we're going to be exposed to unexpectedly and maybe accidentally more of that true intent before Neptune spins it. But
it's just explosive. The Mars Uranus it's explosive. That's the
even
thing
though it's in Taurus, right? So it's probably like a stronger explosion. It just makes me
wonder, like, is this on the positive side? Is this very strong seismic kind of shift that's happening
What
in
if
the
it's an
earth.
earthquake?
Well, yeah, for sure. But it could also be stuff that's going on where the frequency of the earth is very much affecting our bodies, or like vice versa.
Frequency war.
I think a lot of people are going to work with like crystals more and like herbs more, and be like focusing on like grounding their
Crystal
energies.
Revolution. Yep, that'll be lit.
You know, like what if they
What if
like
there's an earthquake and a tsunami?
what if they
That would suck.
uncover information? Because you've heard lots of stuff like about like Atlantis and like Lemuria, and people who talk about how like those cities were like powered by really large crystals, and like that they had like grids and things that were set up so people could like use that for healing energy or like movement. What if we start to kind of realize like there's something to that? Like there's actual crystals or like elements that are being used to like open up portals, or to, you know, kind of like move things or heal things. Or I'm waiting for there to be like this rollout of like all this new stuff, like different types of healings, different energies, like quantum energies, like all kinds of things that has been suppressed because
that was the word I felt, because
yeah.
you know, Saturn going in, Saturn square that is suppressing that Mars energy, and pressure makes diamonds, right?
Yeah.
So it's not until Saturn leaves Aqua that suppression will finally be gone.
We've seen similar squares though. When we had some of these squares that were happening in Aquarius with Saturn, we saw like the rise of like all the truckers in Canada. And we've also seen, you know, all kinds of other like farmers and like other people. So I have this feeling that because Taurus can very much be associated with the commoner, there can be a sense of like there being this like banding together of people who grow our food, people who are involved in like going and actually harvesting food, people who work with plants or herbs, or like builders in general, and like people coming together. Because I feel like the Mars-Uranus North Node can be like angry mob energy if it's not handled appropriately. And we've seen the Saturn-Uranus square really taking place for the last year. And I think when Mars kind of follows suit and comes into conjunction with North Node and Uranus, there's going to be this sense of being like unyielding and unwilling to back down, and really challenging Saturn.
Yeah.
Because this is the opening square to the conjunctions that we had in February in Aquarius.
Plus, it's all during Leo season. So this is when we're finally bringing everything since Aries and bringing it socially. We're starting to communicate with other people around us. Hey, this is what I think about what happened. This is what is happening. You know what I mean? Like this is going to really impact culture like a season finale. And you have to look at 2022 as a season finale for everything that started 2010.
Well, yeah, 2022 is kind of like basically we're gonna really start to understand why things have sped up the way that they have the last couple of years.
Yeah.
I mean, and I've also thought, I've been thinking about this a lot. That's what kind of prompted this episode, is like, will that North Node Uranus be some sense of disclosure about aliens or, you know, life beyond our planet? Things that are either interdimensional or things that are possibly like in other places. Now, people go back and forth, like, does Uranus rule space and exploration? I think so, but a lot of people have said that Neptune can deal with creatures and aliens and stuff that can kind of be fictional, or things like apparitions. But this is still in a sextile, so we're actually going to see the sextile can kind of continue. And then even into next year, as we see Saturn come into Pisces and we see Uranus move up in degrees, it's still going to be sextiling Neptune. I think they know. Like, they know that there's life beyond what's here on Earth. I think that there is this fear because it's going to create such chaos. And also, we have to wait until till Saturn fully gets into Pisces. And when some of this information is released, probably the disclosure is going to begin in the summer, I'm assuming. But we have to wait until Saturn starts coming into conjunction with Neptune. And that's ultimately probably going to be the beginning of the end of the fall of organized religion. Like, think of what would happen to the major organized religions if there is this full-blown disclosure that's like, oh yeah, aliens are like a real thing.
And someone just shared me a video talking about the Pope said, God is not Catholic. I didn't really watch that yet.
Well, what about that whole thing where they were saying like NASA brought a bunch of like theologists in and like asked them about like how would your particular like belief groups like respond if we were to talk to them about aliens?
So when you brought that up, that's what I was thinking about. That's what made me feel
know.
like they're already prepared. Like they have the information. They're just waiting on how to release it. And let's talk about that because there's so much sensitive information the government has. And this is why it's like you got to put yourself
And
in
the Vatican.
And the Vatican.
Come on.
So it's like if we tell the general public what we tell them, are they going to show up to work in the morning?
And are they still going to put money in the fucking church trays? And are they
Right.
still going to be
Right.
God-fearing citizens?
Right. You know, GDP will just change overnight. So the cool thing about this is the longer it takes the government to release it, the sooner it'll take a whistleblower to release it. And the government needs to ask, do they want a whistleblower to release this or do they want to release
But they've had
this?
so many pilots and so many other people who have been affiliated. I mean, I think of like, gosh, what is that guy's name? I can't think of his name. There's like two really significant alien guys, and now I can't think of their names. Shoot, I can't remember. Bob Lazar is one of them, and then the other one, I want to say his last name's Morningstar. Somebody probably will recognize this, but about the guy who was like basically trying to come out and talk all about aliens and the fact that like somebody like on a Native American reserve like saw a crash and they like tried to save the alien, and he like told all of like the natives all about where he came from, and then they like passed that story on, and this guy tried to come out with it, and like supposedly like the Secret Service or like the FBI like tried to straight up like kill this dude. Like look into Robert Morningstar, look into Bob Lazar, two very interesting stories. This information is out there. Pilots have seen it. People have talked about it for a long period of time. They've been putting this information out there in movies for decades, trying to prepare everybody for this, and I think they realized maybe like all of the last couple of years was the process of like kind of buckling down. So when the truth comes out that not only are there aliens out there, but I think the aliens are trying to intervene and they're trying to help us evolve.
They've been trying to
I think they're
intervene.
trying to help us evolve.
Been trying to intervene.
Because they know that we're like
ages.
enslaved.
Yes, and there are aliens here watching this program with you. Letting you
I
know.
probably am an alien. I'm convinced I have
Plutonian alien.
Uranus conjunct my chart ruler.
Yes. So, I mean, I think it's going to really, I think a transit like this will also open up a whole new conversation on genetics, on biology. It's going to help bring in this reset happening over the next few years. And one thing that Candace said that was right is none of us know shit.
Yeah, we don't.
None of us know anything.
The last couple times Uranus
So,
was in
like-
Taurus, there was like horrific medical things that were done. Like all kinds of experiments and things that were totally botched. We didn't know anything about anything. And it's going to be here for a little while. I'm just more concerned about that 18 degrees. I'm concerned about effect that we might have from like radiation. I mean, we're a whole generation of people who have been glued to our phones. I don't think we know enough about radiation yet. And some of the other things that are kind of coming.
Was systematic, because it's one thing to tell people to get off your phone. It's another thing to accept that like you kind of need a smartphone or a phone or internet.
Especially if you have to park
function.
in Florida.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So like it's there's a lot of stupid advice about what not to do that's not practical, you know. So I think there's a lot of positives with this trend. Like, I think this is, if you're an individual that wants autonomy, this is actually for you. But you have that Saturn square looming. So are you gonna clap back, or are you gonna be a bitch?
Where Uranus and Saturn have been squaring, Saturn keeps like really reining it in. Like I feel like the nodes square Saturn, all the conjunctions to Saturn. There was a need to do all of the Saturn structuring, but once we get in July and August, it's like, no, like, I feel like Uranus is really kind of leading the way and setting the stage for some kind of like a rebellion that's going to be happening.
This is the revolution of the individual.
Yeah.
So a lot of what you were saying, I feel a good part of it is that it's the friction that's going to lead to the Pluto Aqua revolution of a lifetime.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, Pluto has already returned for America, so...
Well, and I think it's going to be even more colorful, just the fact that, like I said, for about 2 weeks, we're going to have planets go through Leo and kind of create that grand fixed cross. So, and a lot of this sounds scary, but I feel like for a lot of people, it's just finally committing to making a sudden change and an upgrade.
Yeah.
Whether that's physically, financially, and we'll talk about this more, obviously, like as we get closer. This is definitely probably going to be part of like our Leo season discussion as we get closer to July going into August.
If only I had an organization that can exploit a group of people to let you send millions of dollars to me so that I can send millions to my baby daddy and my...
Like Black Lives Matter?
That's racist.
Are you? Did you not? What?
Why would you bring black people?
Oh God, fuck you. You know, you saw the Candace Owens thing. You were like, I gotta watch that
God
shit.
bless you, Candace Owens. we need you. We don't deserve you, but it is what
That
it is.
woman, though, she had like 6 mansions. 6 mansions.
Money laundering. I don't know.
I mean, the U.S.
The
government's been
finesse of
doing
a
it for so
lifetime.
long. So.
I can't even blame them because people willingly did it. So you all got away with it. Good shit. It is what it is.
I can't wait to watch that.
I can't wait to watch that. That's the next wave right there. Let me tell you something. The conspiracy theories, the disclosure coming out is going to blow 2012 out the water. It's going to be like a culmination of everything that... And the thing that's weird is it's going to make everyone a believer. So this is the prelude to revolution, and I think Leo season is so important to that because from Leo to Aqua, we're going to see shit hit the fan, but in a good way. This is like positive because hard times make stronger men. So I don't want to frame this as anything to be worried about, but you got to be aware that a transit like this is going to shift the game.
I feel like the Pluto and Scorpio generation is just like, let it all burn.
For real.
Just let it burn to the ground.
That
We'll just
south
start
node
over.
to Pluto is unlocking all of us. And let's talk about the lead up to it, because Mars in its dignity in Aries is happening. It's going to go over Jupiter. Then we'll have that Taurus conjunction, and then it's going to retrograde in Gemini. So Mars is busy all year.
Oh man, I feel like the Gemini retrograde with a square to Neptune and like
oh my God.
America having like 3 Mars returns in a mutable square between transit and natal Neptune is just like, get your popcorn.
Yes.
Get your popcorn.
You will see the finest liars just show their face.
Oh man.
Oh yes.
Well, we'll definitely talk about this more, like I said, as we get closer. I just really felt like the need to kind of be like, hi, we got about 90 days until this upgrade starts. Some of us are already feeling it. These degrees have also been kind of triggered through Uranus transits and also eclipses. Let us know, where is this happening in your natal chart? Where is Taurus? Are you a fixed sign? Are you feeling it? What are you anticipating? What are you willing to change?
What foundation are you ready to champion?
An upgrade. It's all in opposition to my sun.
Ooh.
So I'm like, hopefully
no one
I'm still
comes for
here.
you. Yeah, I feel you on that.
I wish a motherfucker would. Just
Got all the
kidding.
juju.
Just kidding. Yeah, let us know where it's happening. Hopefully you guys like this episode. Let us know. Do you think aliens are going to come and beam us up?
Do you think you'll join level 3,
Hopefully.
2, or 1? Which one? Is it 2
3.
or 3?
It's 3.
3.
They want 3.
Yeah.
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 Yeah,
you
you
want
do.
a card from us every month. 3 cards. I got you. We got you. That's no problem.
Do consider subscribing, also commenting. If you want to become a member or give us a donation, you make it possible for us to keep doing these videos. So if you like watching
We need a pre-roll
us,
fund. Definitely.
yeah, we do. That's very like North Node, Mars, Uranus, and Taurus.
Shout out to Jessica. She been definitely contributing.
Thank you very much. We
She
appreciate it.
understood the assignment.
Until next time, we'll see all of you guys very soon. Take care.